So let's kick it off, Matt. I mean, macro market just feels kind of uncertain, kind of a waiting game to me for later this week. There's a CPI print on Friday morning and then the Fed meeting next week. And there was a GDP print last week.
But essentially, it's kind of surprised to the upside. So you had like a little mini rally to start the day when that came out. It does get to this weird point where it's like, oh, hopefully things are so terrible in the economy that like the Fed bails us out again and we get back to the old days of 2020. And that's not, I think, the way long-term investors should really be thinking about things.
The rate of orders coming in for Tesla right now are very slow compared to a year ago.
At by far the lowest rate in the last, I think it was 18 months or so. So that's potentially a pretty concerning data point if you're looking at, just the sustainability of Tesla's demand. I do think there's reasons maybe not to take it too seriously. Just the fact that lead times are now over 6 months is causing people not to order. I think it would be irresponsible to think that the slowdown in the economy is not to some degree weighing on decreased order rate.
Also mentioned, he mentioned the wait for Model 3 is shortening, but the Model Y is lengthening. That to me is obvious that the Model Y is sort of like eating the world in terms of like demand. The value for the Model Y is by far the best of all the Tesla cars, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Model Y eating the world is definitely going to continue. And the good thing about that too is, those are obviously higher ASPs, but they're also higher margin.
The next thing is the latest full self-driving version.
It's been I would say, a modest step back for me. The sooner we get on single stack, the better. And we're still a little ways away from there, apparently. The most common issue is, this like system failure where it just freaks out and says like you need to take over immediately. There's been a FSD failure, but at the same time, it's definitely more assertive and modestly better, I'd say, at kind of left turns on protected lefts. The program's clearly expanding. I mean, we've heard from some people on Twitter who got the beta for the first time this week.
Back when he made the original bid at 54.20, you could see that like maybe this offer wasn't good enough for Twitter. If the market never tanked, we'd be in a situation, even with this bot stuff, that Twitter would be like still trying to play the card like, hey, we're worth more than 54.20. We don't want Elon to buy us, But now it's almost like the tables have flipped completely, partly because the macro market went down, but also because Elon's made a big deal about the bot issue.
He's definitely inflicted a pretty significant wound on Twitter should they, not move forward.
His primary purpose is not buying Twitter for what it is now. Primary goal was to turn it into something really special. I think he still wants it to happen. He's just kind of negotiating to try to get the lower price.
But having a differentiated product that you can install efficiently and give a lot of value, that's the way to go. So I think they're still trying to figure out that process.
Peru, I think, has a really interesting angle or take on the macro market. That's why I've been following them more closely. So yeah, it seems like second half of this year, it's likely to happen. Whether it's the beginning, the third quarter, or the fourth quarter, I don't know. She's in the wrong business. Yeah, maybe she shouldn't be a congressman. Maybe she should be a hedge fund manager. I don't understand how Congress lawmakers, are able to bet on the market at all. It seems such a conflict of interest. That's a great question. I'm sure we'll find out in the next earnings report. It's going to be the topic of of each earnings report for the next few earnings reports. How's the ramp going?
When I get bullish about the energy business, I think of like 2030 or so. Not only are they selling all these mega packs that say a 10% gross margin, but you've got 10 years of mega packs out there, and you've got 10 years of solar roof production out there. So you've got this fleet of assets. And by that time, Tesla's kind of whittled away at these regulatory constraints that are prohibiting it from operating in all these regions. And so then what I think the opportunity is when you look at the cumulative fleet of assets that they're going to have, and you can make them all work in unison to provide valuable services to the grid and actually get paid from that.